What's up, guys? Daniel Markham here with the Markham Gardens. Wanted to bring you along today. Today we're going to dig a couple holes. We're going to put in a couple poles, and we are going to go ahead and get a trellis system set up for our muscadines. Now, right now we currently have, I don't know if you can see right over here. Yes, you can. That is our only muscadine vine that we have right now. That one's a Triumph. But we're going to go ahead and plant another one. And I want to make sure that I've got enough trellis area for two of these guys. And so I'm going to go ahead and dig a couple holes today. We're going to dig one hole right there, and then we're going to dig another hole on the other side of this muscadine right here. And then we're going to run a pole up and another pole up, and then run a cross member that goes across to be able to support all of these muscadine vines. And then we're going to go ahead and get another muscadine, and we're going to plant it right there. So follow with me today as we build this trellis system. Now, before we really get started digging these poles and putting these poles into the ground, I want to go ahead and turn the water on. A lot of the garden is needing water, so I'm going to head over here and we're going to go kick the water on. So I'm going to take you with me. So I was able to get this low water use water, and I love this thing because it really doesn't take a lot of water pressure to get this thing to start pumping out. And I kind of like that about it. All right. So we're going to need to water this bed right here, and this bed, and this side of this one, and this little bed here. So I'm going to set this up right here in the middle. All right, so we went ahead and set it up right here. That should reach fairly well. Let me go kick this thing on, show you guys what it can do. So the cool thing about this water sprinkler is it uses very little water. You don't have to have very high water pressure. Now we have plenty of water pressure here. We run off of a jet pump here, but I can turn it up as high as I want it, basically within reason. But it allows you to run off a very low water pressure and still be able to get quite a bit of flow, and it spreads it quite well for a large area of watering, and it covers a whole lot of plants in one setting. So I really like it. I usually set it up for about an hour, and we get pretty good watering for most of the plants. Let me flip you around here, you can see. So I'm actually getting hit by water right now. So that water is reaching all the way out here, which means it's reaching all of these. You can kind of see the water droplets hitting. And it just slings the water. You can see it sort of slinging the water right there. But it does an amazing job. I absolutely love this thing. Works really, really well, and covers a very large area. So anyway, let's get back to digging some holes. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dig a hole. So I love muscadines. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever been out to SFA Gardens, but I went to SFA Gardens for a fruit field day one time, and they brought out all these muscadines, and we were actually able to go through and try all of the different muscadines. It's amazing how many different flavors that there are in all the different muscadines. And then when we went in to sit for the presentation, they brought us some muscadine wine. And I'm not a big fan of wine. I don't care for the dries or any of the bitter tastes, but I absolutely love the taste of muscadine wine. It's a super sweet flavor, and it has that unusual muscadine flavor. So That should be deep enough. So I've got this really tall treated pole here, and kind of an older pole, but it is treated. I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half, and we're going to use half and half. So I'm going to put the first one in that hole, and then I'll put the other one in the other hole, and then we'll run a board across the top of it to support all of these muscadines. So I'm going to go cut this board in half. Perfect. So that should put our muscadines at this height. So this will be great because I can actually pick off of all of these without having to bend over too much, not having to reach too high. This should be about the perfect height here. So we'll run this one here, and then we'll run another one over there on the other side, and then we'll do our connecting board. Now I am going to go ahead and cement these in. So I'm going to have to run and go get some concrete, bags of concrete, so that we can do the mixing. I'm going to go ahead and cement these in. I'm going to put a little bit of cement in the bottom of it with possibly just a little bit of gravel. And we're going to try to keep these suckers from rotting out as long as possible. And so I'm going to go ahead and concrete these in. I will go ahead and raise that concrete up just a little bit on these poles, just to make sure that we've got water shed off of them. And we'll go from there. All right. So I will say, it is always a good idea to dig your holes, put in your poles before you plant the muscadines. So I want to measure my hole. I want to make sure that I've got the same depth on both of them. So 22, 23 inches deep, about 2 foot deep. Now, usually when you're putting in posts and stuff, you want to reach for about 3 feet deep. 3 feet deep is great if you're doing like a fence line or you're doing something like that. But for a trellis for 2 muscadines, I think about 2 feet's close enough. That should work. All right, guys. I think it's time to go get some concrete. What do you think? All right, guys. When I mixed the concrete, I made sure that I only added a little bit of water at a time, guys, because you really don't want it super runny. You want it almost like slushy. You know, if you've ever gone to an Allsups or you've ever gone to a gas station, you've got you a little slushy. Before it fully melts, you know, that slushy consistency where it will stand up a little bit. You can make it into a little cone, but it's not so liquid that it just becomes super runny, guys, because it's not going to set up right if you've got too much water in it, and you're going to lose some strength in that. Granted, we're only putting up a trellis right now for a muscadine, so it's not that big of a deal, but you definitely want to keep the consistency correct. And if you do it on practicing, you'll do it when you need it that way. So anyway, let me flip you guys around here. I'll show you what we've done. So you can see here what I've gone ahead and done is all of this sand is built up. I'm going to end up raking all this sand back away, but I do have it raised up a little bit, and you can't tell on this one because of the fact that I've got all of this mulch and stuff that's around it. But once it all sets up, I'm going to go ahead and pull some of this mulch away, and you'll see that basically it is raised up just a little bit, and I have gone ahead and pressed it up against the board so that water can't seep down behind that into the board. Now I probably will go ahead and put a coat of paint on these. I understand that they are pressure treated, but these are old boards. I mean, they were used for something else. I'm just reusing boards, so I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of paint on them just to get them to last even longer. But you can see this one over here. Actually, you can see the base of this one just a little bit better. If you come down here, you can see that it is actually raised up. It's coned up to it because I don't have quite as much mulch built up around here. But I will go ahead and paint this board as well. But you can see that this board right here lines up with the other board. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put, once these set up, now I've got to give them time to cure. But once these boards set up, I'm going to go ahead and put a board across the top of both of them. And then we will begin training our muscadine to that board, and I'll have to go ahead and source my other muscadine. Still haven't decided which other variety that I want to use of muscadine. Right now we use the Triumph. We know that one's done fairly well in this area, and it's also pretty disease resistant. But if you guys have a recommendation on muscadines for this area here in southeast Texas, or anywhere that is super humid and super hot in the summertime, if you guys have a recommendation, if you would go ahead and put a comment down below what kind of muscadine you think that I should put in on that second slot over there. And, you know, I'll probably just put 2 muscadines in there just because, you know, that's the room that I've got for this. Most of the property vine area I'm going to keep allotted to the kiwi that we're going to be putting in the ground. And so I don't want to put a whole bunch of muscadine. I can't really eat muscadines. But I know several people that can, that would enjoy it, so that's why we're doing this. But I'm going to go ahead and let these things set up. I'm going to let them cure, and then once they're stable and they're not moving around anymore at all, I'll come back with you guys. We'll go ahead and put the topper on it, and we'll begin training the muscadine to the top. We're going to have to do quite a bit of trimming, guys, because the base of that muscadine is pretty... It's got a whole bunch of branches going everywhere, and we really want one main stem that comes up towards the trellis area and then goes nuts once it gets up to the trellis. So I'll come back to you guys with that one. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys a quick clip of what we did. We harvested our watermelon here, and I'm so sorry I didn't bring you guys along for that whole process of looking at the watermelons and the tendrils and everything. We will do some more. I've got lots more watermelons on the vines right now. Let me get over here and I'll show you guys real quick. Just the watermelons are still going gangbusters. In fact, you probably saw some of it while I was out here. They're definitely up for a watering. You can see that they're a little wilty right now. I got to get the watering out here, but you can see vines going crazy over there, and we definitely have a whole bunch more watermelons on this vine, but there are a whole bunch of little watermelons all over it. We've got some medium-sized ones. We've got some that are almost there, just not quite ripe. And I will show you guys that process of being able to tell when they're ripe and when they're not. Oh, there's one right there. So you can see right here, there's a little one. See, we've got them of all shapes and sizes, guys. We've got some that are just starting, and we've got some like this one over here. You can see we've got one there and we've got one there that are starting to ripen up. So I will show you guys the process of how to tell when they're ripe and when they're not ripe before you pick them. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you a clip at the end of the video of that harvest. and me hauling a whole bunch of them away in the cart. I believe we harvested, I want to say 14 or 15 melons so far. And there's probably 50, 60 melons still on the vines right now that are ripening. So we'll get there soon, but I'll show you guys a clip of that. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming along with me today. I just wanted to get those posts in for the muscadines. I want to get that trellis up and set. I know previous video I told you guys we were going to be doing that. It's just about time. I should have done it before I planted the muscadine, but you know, time gets away from us, and you know, stuff happens here at the gardens, and there's just so much going on, and I just didn't have time to get it done, and so now we're doing it. So one thing that I did want to run across with you guys is there may be a concern whenever you put concrete in that concrete would be bad for your plants. And you would be right. You don't want to put it too extremely close to the roots of your plants. Concrete has the tendency, when you put it into the ground, to cause all of the surrounding ground around it to start building up in pH. So it has a little bit of lime in it, and so the pH begins going up. Sorry guys, I'm sweating like crazy. The pH begins going up, and it can change the pH a little bit. So what I did is I put that post in probably about 1.5 feet from the actual stalk of the grape. And although it will affect the grape just a little bit, there's enough root zone on the other sides of that grape to help prevent that grape from really being damaged or anything like that. But just keep in mind though, that if you are going to put a post in next to something, and if you're going to put it within 1 foot next to that trunk, there's a good chance that your plant's going to get pretty sick and could possibly die because of the amount of lime that's in that concrete. Now, once concrete's sat there for about 1 year, once it's leached all out, then it's not a problem because most of the lime has neutralized and goes back to just being normal. But just wanted to let you guys know that before I get off of here, just so you're aware. If you are going to put in some posts and some concrete, just be aware that it may affect your plants depending on what they are, just because of that extra lime that'll leach into the soil. So make sure you put it quite a distance from it. And anyway, again, you know, ideal situation, I would have put those posts in a lot sooner and wouldn't be putting them right now once the is already cranking this big. I mean, you really ideally want to do it so that you can train that muscadine up the pole while it's growing. But I'm going to have to do a little bit of fixing, but I'm going to bring you guys along for that process of how to prune it, how to go ahead and start putting it on the trellis later on, in case you haven't done it already. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining with me today. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the Markham Gardens, if you would, go ahead and hit that subscription button, and it definitely helps out the channel to have more subscribers. And if you liked what you saw today, if you learned anything, or if you didn't like it, whatever, guys, hit the like button. I appreciate it. It'd be awesome for the channel. And if you've got any comments, anything you'd like to say, anything you think I could have done better, anything that you see that would be a great improvement for here, guys, if you'll go ahead and put a comment down in the comment section. And also, don't forget, if you've got an idea on the muscadine, what you think we should put in, guys, if you'll go ahead and put a comment in there as well, and I'll read through those and see if we can make a decision on what kind of muscadine we're going to add to the trellis. So anyway, guys, if you would share this video with your friends and family, if you know anybody that is going to be doing this or would enjoy this kind of stuff in a garden setting, if you would go ahead and share this video, I appreciate it. Help definitely gets the word out there for the channel. But anyway, guys, thanks for following along. I hope your gardens are growing amazing right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Shalom under the dome.